Good morning and welcome to Defense Stars. I'm your host, Bob Mata, and this is our continuing coverage of the Rex Heuermann case, Lisk, Gilgo Beach, all of those. There's a presser. It seems like I'm already late, so let me not waste any time and try to find this. It looks like it started early, babe. Oh, here's my beautiful and brilliant co-host, Allie. What's up, girl? Come on in.
I got to stay out for a minute. I got to help your dad real quick, so I'm going to stay off stage.
All right, well, help me. Before you help my dad, help me find the presser because it's going on right now. It looks like it's going on. Early.
Oh, boy.
It was supposed to
it started early. Oh, no. Let's see.
What new?
And, of course, I text you a link that doesn't work, so.
Right. So it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing.
It's the easiest thing.
I just wanted to have like the thing up and like I'm gonna have to
Hold on, Dad. Wait a sec. It's not here on the Suffolk County site, so.
Yeah, I know. Which is weird. Like I don't know why the Suffolk County Police Department doesn't have it.
Are you ready?
All right. See, I found it, but like I don't know if I can rewind it. God damn it. Why would they say 11 o'clock and then start it early? It's weird. I guess I don't care about the news. Okay. Wow. Okay. Sorry, guys. I found it, but it doesn't appear that I can rewind it, and I want to watch it from the beginning. So. Yeah, it's bizarre. If you can find it, Mandy, you can just put it right up for me. Like this. Okay. All right.
Hey, Shannon came in with some intel for you.
What'd she say?
Well, it's right there.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna pull this up since no one else on my team can help me get anything ever.
Like wow, that's you just went in a little.
I'm talking about like these kind of things. Like I need somebody that can help me get these things like queued up so that they're ready to go. Mainly you, babe.
I get it.
All right, I'm pulling this up. Unfortunately, it does not appear that I can rewind it. I'll try to figure it out.
So until we're able to do that, we won't speak on that, and we speak through indictments.
A quick follow-up. When Rex Heuermann loudly proclaimed in court that he's not guilty of any of these charges, just your thought.
Listen, that's the process, and right now he's absolutely right. These are allegations, and it's our obligation to prove them. So we're going to be held to our burden. We're going to be held to our task, and we look forward to doing that.
Can you comment on whether or not there's any evidence that Offset LF was out of town when Valerie Mack disappeared?
It's not included in the bail letter, so we're
Agreed.
to discuss that at this
That's
time.
been consistent throughout.
With
Text him
regard to
something.
the
Text
other,
will
we've been
remain.
able
We need
to
to have these
establish
things
that, but
figured out.
we was not included in this
We'll
bail
leave it at
application. And the thing is, we're
Not
precluded
really talking
oftentimes about
shit.
talking about things
It's definitely talking shit.
that
No,
are not, have
stop.
not been publicly disclosed or disclosed in court. So, all of the bail letters, that is, the evidence that which has been disclosed. Obviously, we have other evidence in this case. I don't believe we have any specific evidence with regard to, the family's whereabouts.
Oh, I don't have my phone near me, Shan. Hold on.
He's going to have to email it to himself anyway.
Well, fortunately for us, we're not going to have to come to the question of whether or not it's, just the DNA evidence is enough, because it's our position. We have a lot of other evidence, and if you could go through all the bail documents to see a portion of that evidence, obviously not all of that evidence, because we have other evidence.
Did she text it to our group, Allison? Because if she texted to our group, that means that you could pull it up right from your text because your computer is connected to it.
No, she texted to you, babe. Just forward it to
Okay.
your own email.
As the judge said in court today,
Wow.
this is
Early
cutting edge
morning,
DNA, the SNP, single nucleotide polymorphisms. That technology, which we're using in this way in New York State, it has been used in other places in the country a handful of times, but it has never been used in New York State. So whenever that happens, there'll be a challenge. There'll be a hearing called a Fry hearing, which the judge has set down. And the defense will make their arguments. We'll make our arguments.
All right, I got it, babe.
anticipate having a
Thank you.
hearing
Thanks,
on that issue,
Shan.
before the judge, and then it's up to the judge to provide the decision as whether or not the technology used in this case is scientifically accepted, and whether or not it'll be admissible in this case. So that's upcoming litigation.
Yeah.
Hi.
The Fry hearing you just mentioned, will that's.
Do you want me to pull this one down, babe?
Will there be any?
Yeah.
motions on the part of the defense
Does not look
to
like we missed much at all, though.
these cases into-
I'm assuming they just kind of like told us what evidence they might have.
All right, ready?
No, y'all, I'm just a little frustrated because it's like one of those things
All right,
where
just
it's like
say
a
yes and
constant
sorry.
thing. It's a
Leave it.
constant thing.
Leave it.
All right, sorry.
Jesus.
What do you mean?
Leave it.
Like everyone's giving
Say
me
sorry.
shit.
Of
It's like,
course,
I-
you
like,
deserve it right this minute. So just
all
leave
right,
it.
well, I'm frustrated.
Just
That's
stop.
all.
Oof.
I mean, people come to get the real shit. This is the real
The
shit.
real shit.
so
This is the real shit.
sorry. If you don't like it, go to a different channel. But my wife
God,
can
let me
handle
share my
herself.
screen already,
I
so
promise
stop.
you, Allison doesn't need you guys to. She'll kick me right in the balls. Don't worry about Allison. She's fine.
Those victims' families. We also, speaking of gratitude, I want to mention our task force partners, some of whom I haven't mentioned here before, but of course, we have our great sheriffs, Suffolk County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Errol Toulon Jr. I know undersheriffs. I spoke with undersheriffs Steve Kios and Keith Taylor. They're here.
Boost it, babe. Or send it to me so I can
Task
boost
force.
it.
Our Suffolk County Police Department, we have Acting Commissioner Rob Waring, who I spoke to, and I saw Deputy Police Commissioners Kevin Catalina and Daryl Simmons. So I know, among others, we have this homicide squad led by Kevin Byer, as well as Sergeant Stephen Geyer, Inspector Sean Barron from the Suffolk County PD is with us here today. I want to thank the Suffolk County PD, both
Can you all hear it?
agency as well as the Homicide Bureau, for their work on this
Seems like
and
it's
many
low.
other cases. We have the New York State Police, Major Stephen Udise, Captain Ken Gine, and his team, who've been instrumental in the task force and the great work that they've done. And I want to thank them. We have FBI Supervisory Special Agent Don Osbacher's here. Special Agent Craig Mateo, I believe, is here. But the FBI has been and continues to be tremendous help in this case, and we certainly want to thank them going forward. And we really appreciate the work that they've done and the work that they continue to do for us. United States Secret Service, I don't know if they're here, but they've been assisting with a lot of the electronic devices, so we want to certainly thank them as well. New York City OCME, somehow I neglected to thank them through all of the various superseding indictments. Specifically, I want to thank their anthropology unit and their forensic biology department. They were working here in Suffolk during the commission of many of these crimes, and so they've come back to Suffolk to assist us in our investigation and prosecution of these cases, and they've done a tremendous job, and we certainly want to thank them, as well as our medical examiner's office in Suffolk County, led by Odette Hall. Dr. Hall has been tremendous in this case. Of course, our own Suffolk County Crime Lab with Director Constance Dinkel and her team. They have, again, like all of these partners, not only they help us with the Gilgo cases, they help us with so many more cases, and we certainly thank them. I want to thank my own team, led by Chief Investigator Rich Zacharis, the ADAs who I've worked with, who are doing a tremendous job, and everyone. Our team, we have an army of people from my office who is really doing a great job. And we want to thank them. A case of this magnitude takes the assistance of so many different moving parts, and we certainly thank all of the folks who people don't even know about, who have really helped us significantly. It's more than it's just a literal army of people. So we certainly appreciate that. As we said, we are not limiting this investigation to Gilgo Beach. We've moved off of the beach. I think that if you had asked me when we started this, could we potentially get to the place where we are now? I think that we thought that this was a possibility, and we're just very happy that we're here. So we're going to continue to work these cases. We're going to continue to prepare these cases for trial. Regarding the murder of Valerie Mack, most of it is in the discovery letter, so I'm not going to repeat. Suffice to say that Valerie's body was discovered on November 19, 2000 in a wooded area off of Mill Road by hunters. From there, we worked the case. According to the bail document, as you see, the evidence is we have mitochondrial DNA from a hair that was found on the body of Valerie Mack, which was a portion of the body of Valerie Mack, which was found off of Mill Road. That hair, mitochondrial DNA analysis was performed, and that hair was consistent with the mitochondrial DNA profiles of both Asa Heuermann and her daughter, Asa Ellerup, and her daughter, Victoria Heuermann. And I believe the numbers are to an exclusion of 99.96% of the population. Similar to the other cases, we then sent that hair out for nuclear DNA analysis, and because it's nuclear DNA, it's much more discriminating, and the profile came back. The most conservative estimate was 1.31 times 10 to the 356 power. So again, you take that 1.31, you move the decimal point over 356 times, and that's the number that you get, which excludes that percentage of the population, but includes, in this case, it was, I believe it was Victoria Heuermann again. So that's where we are. We in the bail letter, we've placed some other evidence with regard to the planning document. Specifically, if you recall, the HK document, which we've referred to as the planning document, we see that one of the dump sites which were discussed in that document was Mill Road, which was the road that Valerie was found in the vicinity of. We also have seen during our searches a number of articles with regard to the Gilgo Beach investigation in various publications like People. There was a New York Times Magazine article about the Gilgo investigation, which was found in the defendant's safe, as well as other news articles in which the discovery of the bodies of Sandra, Jessica, and Valerie are found. And those newspapers were retained by the defendant, as well as information when Valerie was identified, when she was positive, when she went from being, I believe she was Jane Doe number 6, and then through the work of the FBI, we were able to establish that it was Valerie, that the body was Valerie's. There was internet searches done from devices controlled by the defendant at or around the time that she was first identified. That's the evidence in this case. Again, it's just that, it's evidence, it's allegations, and we look forward to proving them at court. But I'll turn it over for questions now.
Does the Mack family want to say anything? We want to come forward and speak about this, and maybe finally answer.
We spoke to the Mack family. I don't believe that they want to give a statement at this time. I can tell you that I had the opportunity to speak. They are very grateful. They are very grateful for the small bit of closure that the task force has been able to provide, and it was very interesting to us. And well, I'll step back. They're thankful for all the investigators stemming right back from the very origins of the case and the diligent work that was done in this case, and they're grateful for that. And I had the opportunity to share with the Mack family the reactions of some of the older investigators when we reached out to them and told them that we had gotten some traction in the case. The excitement on those, the palpable excitement that we got from those investigators, made it obvious to us that, the lives of these women matter. We as investigators, we understand that. Obviously, no one understands it more than the families. So again, we're just delighted and honored and privileged to be able to work with these families. And again, there's not so much we can do, but at least we provide them with a small measure of closure.
Sir, in the bail application, the evidence and the allegations you mentioned, things that are found either in the home or his office. I wasn't sure if that was the Manhattan office, but you talked also about the newspaper articles. There was evidence of a plumber being called to the home. Could you go over any of that? Yeah.
So, if you look at the planning document, it's discussed the foam, drain foaming cleaner, and issues with regard to that. And at around the time of the commission of this crime, there was a plumber did go to the Heuermann residence.
So you're thinking that some of the murders could have taken place in the home?
Well, I mean, obviously, we don't have to specifically prove where they happen. We just, we have other elements that we need to prove. But I think if you look at this case, if you look at the planning document, if you look at the adhesive, the adhesive staining on the walls and sort of enclosed pattern, certainly all of that is consistent with the commission of those murders occurring at the home.
DA Chairman, Peach's toddler daughter was found very close on Ocean Parkway to Valerie Mack. Would that lead you to believe that Rex Heuermann could be responsible for the murder of the toddler and Peaches?
Doesn't matter what I believe, as I say, matters what I can prove. And, what we've done, and to the extent we've been able to have success, is you take each one of these cases, you take each one of the location of the bodies, and you use that as a separate investigation and a separate crime scene until you're specifically given clues which will allow you to put them together. So until we're able to do that, we won't speak on that, and we speak through indictments.
Well, a quick follow-up. When Rex Heuermann loudly proclaimed in court that he's not guilty of any of these charges, just your thought.
Listen, that's the process, and right now he's absolutely right. These are allegations, and it's our obligation to prove them. So we're going to be held to our burden. We're going to be held to our task, and we look forward to doing that.
Can you comment on whether or not there's any evidence that Asa Elrep was out of town when Valerie Mack disappeared?
It's not included in the bail letter, so we're not going to discuss that.
That's been consistent throughout the
With
others.
regard to the other, we've been able to establish that, but it was not included in this bail application. And the thing is, we're precluded oftentimes about talking about things that have not been publicly disclosed or disclosed in court. So, all of the bail letters, that is, the evidence that which has been disclosed. Obviously, we have other evidence in this case. I don't believe we have any specific evidence with regard to the family's whereabouts.
Thank you.
Throughout this case, the defense has raised questions about whether the DNA evidence is enough. I mean, can you talk about why you felt it was enough to charge him with this murder?
Well, fortunately for us, we're not going to have to come to the question of whether or not it's, just the DNA evidence is enough, because it's our position we have a lot of other evidence. And if you could go through all the bail documents to see a portion of that evidence, obviously not all of that evidence, because we have other evidence. As the judge said in court today, this is cutting edge DNA, the SNP, single nucleotide polymorphisms, that technology which we're using in this way in New York State. It has been used in other places in the country a handful of times, but it has never been used in New York State. So whenever that happens, there'll be a challenge. There'll be a hearing called a Fry hearing, which the judge has set down, and the defense will make their arguments. We'll make our arguments. I anticipate having a hearing on that issue before the judge, and then it's up to the judge to provide the decision as whether or not the technology used in this case is scientifically accepted, and whether or not it'll be admissible in this case. So, that's upcoming litigation.
The Fry, I'm Kevin Sheehan with this.
Hi.
The Fry hearing you just mentioned, that's coming up in January. Will there be any motions on the part of the defense to break up these cases into like a number of cases as far as victims?
Well, I think the judge indicated on the record that he wanted a Fry DNA hearing motion filed by the defense by January, I believe. And then he also said at the very least, and then he mentioned the severance motion. So I think that whether or not the defense decides they want to sever the case, that motion, we would anticipate it coming, if not in January, then soon thereafter.
Would you oppose that motion?
Yes.
How again do you guys view those newspaper and magazine clippings?
Well, I mean, again, what we've done with this case, what we've done with the phone records, the financial records, the DNA, the internet searches, and the various things that he has kept since going all the way back to 1993, it's evincing his intent. It's evincing, his interest in the case. So we think that it's, circumstantial evidence of his, that persistent interest in the case, the victims, the methods being used to, starting back in 2010, all the methods used by law enforcement to try to catch the murderer of some of the individuals on Gilgo. All of those things are evince a certain mental state and intent. So we think when taken with all the evidence, it paints a certain picture. Again, well, the picture will need to prove at trial.
You just mentioned the evidence, the tape patterns on the ceiling, for the toilets in the home. Were those all, I know those were in different areas, but were they all in the basement?
Yeah.
They were all in there?
And if you look at, the planning document, he's talking about push pins because, and there's when I say he, I mean, the document mentions push pins. And then, and that the tape is no good, presumably because it creates an adhesive stain on the walls.
That's all in the basement.
It's all in the basement.
And that was also kept as souvenirs? I mean, are you thinking that the newspapers and magazines were also mementos for him to keep feeling good about himself?
I scored a touchdown in high school. Still have that article. Just one.
Well, a little light for serial killer combo.
Uh,
A little brevity for
I'm
serial.
sorry.
In the papers today, it said that he had visited the Gilgo site.
Yes. At around significant times in the investigation.
So is there a number of times that he visited the site, timing with along with Mack findings?
Yeah, I believe it was the identification of Valerie Mack as the victim.
Was there other times after the?
I believe there was. I don't specifically have that information for you. We can get that for you though.
Any anticipation when this is finally going to go to trial, or are you content to sort of leave it like this while you investigate numerous other murders?
No, I'm not content at all. And it doesn't really matter whether I'm content or not. It matters whether the judge is content. And I can tell you the judge is less than content. And that's his job. This is a very active and aggressive judge that tries many cases throughout the year, and he's eager to try this case. So he's doing his job, and he's pushing us. He's pushing the defense. He's pushing us. Obviously, now when you're talking about 7 separate murders going back from 1993, you have missing persons reports from other outside jurisdictions in New York, outside jurisdictions from the state. All of that, we have tips, all of that, we have forensic material and evidence. All of that has to be provided to the defense, which we're working through. So it is a difficult task. I would say that the judge understands that, but he's also pushing us. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and comply with the judge and get ready. The first step, it sounds like the first step is going to be the Fry hearing. So we have a lot of work to do with that. That's going to, presumably they will have experts. We're going to have experts, and we'll have that hearing.
2025, 2026?
Well, I mean, I think the judge said late February, or if not late February, perhaps early March of the ensuing year. Yeah.
So is it safe to presume that there would be no more, that this would be the last indictment before a trial?
This is the most unique case that I think I've ever done, and we go all the way back to its origins, and we talk about the uniqueness of this case, where we took a cold case, we developed a suspect, and then we were off and running, and then you had this tension between putting your case together for the grand jury, maintaining the secrecy of the case, pre-indictment, and then also providing for public safety. And then, the tension between all that resulted in the case coming down in July. Well, now we have this tension where we have to prepare what we've charged for trial. But we also have to continue to investigate all, and again, we have a cold case unit, that we're working with the Suffolk County PD, state troopers, federal partners, Suffolk County sheriffs. So we're working on those cold cases. So the business of Suffolk County law enforcement cannot stop with this case. So there's always that tension. We've got to provide this case, for trial. This judge will not take any excuses, so we've got to do that. But we've got an obligation to continue to investigate these cases, and provide closure to as many families as we can. And that's whether or not, these result in additional charges for anyone. And obviously we don't know that until we charge. But, that the answer to that question, unfortunately, changes on a daily basis, depending upon, the evidence we receive and the input we
Has
receive.
the judge indicated at all, let's get this moving? I mean, he said, he's gonna press up the judge, we've seen how it works.
Yeah, he says that, he wants, again, he was a defense attorney for a long time. He was a prosecutor for a long time. He's a judge for a long time. He's done a lot of these cases from every conceivable vantage point. So he understands, but by the same token, he's pushing us. So, that's, we have to, first and foremost, we have to comply with the court, which we intend to do.
Attorney, what's the status of the funds that you had said were tied up?
Still tied up.
And what about other victims, Karen Brigada and the other, unsolved murders?
Yeah, I mean, again, we started the cold case unit. We have a number of cases. Karen Brigada is one of those victims. So we'll continue to work those cases. But as we've been saying, those cases, those bodies, they're separate investigations, separate crime scenes until we can speak through an indictment otherwise, whether they're related or not.
Are you hindered in any way because you don't have the money yet?
I mean, I think to a certain extent, law enforcement, everybody in life is hindered because you never have enough resources. But, I think we're managing very well. It would be nice to have that money, but we have great partners. We have our Suffolk County executive, our Suffolk County legislature is very sympathetic to what we're doing. So, it would be great to have that money, but it's not like, if something needs to be done, it gets done. The big difference, I think, is it's just, as far as it's not, rocket science providing all of this digital evidence, but it is important and it's specific work. And the more hands you have on it, the quicker it'll get done. And having that federal money would be very helpful in that regard.
I just wanted to give others an option to speak if they want to. I know Valerie Mack's family are not ready. Are there any?
I think Ms. Allred is going to be having a press conference after me. So I believe she represents most of the victims in this case. So I'll leave that to her and to them.
So in the new bail application, one of the articles, it indicated that it was found in the basement vault.
New bail
Can you
application.
clarify, is that like a vault where, is it the entire thing?
I think they call it a discovery letter.
Like, can you
No,
elaborate
that's
on the vault?
Yeah, the vault is just where the gun vault.
Okay, so that's where
it
things
was
were.
behind it was locked.
So in addition to the guns, there were other things
There
you
was
locked in there?
that specific document, among other things.
So it's in the gun vault, in a safe, inside the gun vault?
Well,
Inside the gun vault,
it was inside the gun vault.
but not locked in the safe.
And the gun vault in effect is a giant safe.
DA,
Yes.
you've said that the evidence is leading you to believe that murders could have taken place in the basement, with the adhesive tape stains and the reference to push pins. Is it your belief that most of the murders might have taken place there and he was comfortable in that environment and it wouldn't have happened outside the jurisdiction of his home?
Well, again, belief and you look at the HK document and you look at, the HK document evinces two things. Clearly, it evinces intent, most obviously, but it also evinces careful and meticulous planning. So, and there's certainly a modus operandi with regard to the commission of these cases. Certainly, there are a
Sounded
lot
like
of
it, Mandy.
similarities between Jessica and Valerie, and I think that's, and again, the victims that were found off of Gilgo, at least partially, in some instances, that we found them earlier, right? So we had more more evidence, more indication of what happened to them. But I mean, if you look at all the victims and then in the context of all the evidence in the case,
We're all
it-
upset.
it would certainly appear that the
Like, hey,
house
dude, turn your ringer
figured
off.
prominently. And again, when with many, if not all, of the victims, we were able to establish that the family was out of the house at the time of the time the victims went missing.
What I noticed in the document is that it says that Valerie Mack was killed or had been dead between 2 and 8 weeks. And so that suggests a longer period of time of when she was actually killed. I mean, do you have any reason to believe she was kept in the house for a long time before she was brought to the woods?
Yeah, well,
And by the way, all thanks to Mandy and all our team, amazing team's hard work. We do have this document they keep referring to, and we'll get it to you when we're done with this press conference.
Is that the, are you talking about the superseding indictment?
Well, it says bail application on the top of it, and it's dated today. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Indictment and bail application in the same document, and it's very thorough.
It is. All right. Yeah, I have it
we're
up.
not going to speak to that. I mean, I think we the only thing we're able to do is estimate through forensic experts, given the condition of the crime scene, and that's where that 2 and 8 period time frame comes from.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, babe, pull it down. I'll throw up the bail application.
Well, wait, I'm totally confused. He literally just said that after him, I thought it meant like the family member representative was stepping
No.
up.
Oh, I think it's going to be a different presser. It's probably like outside. Like they're not like Aldred. She reps all the victims' families, so I think her thing will probably be.
All right. Well, I emailed it to you. So while you're pulling it up, 'cause-
I have it up.
okay, I just wanted to say hi to Jay and again to Shannon, and remind people that I'm sure by following Shannon and Jay on YouTube and X, that them being right in New York and being boots on the ground when this thing very first started, that we'll be hearing from them throughout all of this a lot as well.
Yeah, and Jay just rebranded. Like he didn't give me a heads up of this amazing new rebranding. He's put after 15 glorious years of the shaming of Jay, he has put it to rest. He is now Jay Bronius.
Jay Bronius.
Jay Bronius. He's got a studio logo.
Wait, can we see some of this real quick? What the hell, Jay?
Let me
We don't like
see.
being out of the loop.
I don't like being out of the loop, Jay. You can tell. Like if you
Don't
were
follow
early
me
on this
anymore
morning
for
I
this,
was out
but
of the
thank
loop
you
and I
all.
wasn't-
So he's not going to cover this anymore? Is that what is this rebranding mean he's not covering this kind of shit either?
I don't know.
Maybe he's just going to be Jay Bronius and it's all fun and happy and good things all the time.
Maybe happy fun times.
At Shannon Shaming, I hope we still get you and Jay's commentary. Are you guys doing that stuff? What's happening, Jay? What's happening?
Yeah, Jay. Tell
Oh,
us.
look,
what's
Shannon says I'm covering it though.
Oh, Shans. All right.
I don't know which she's talking about because people are talking about throwing a lot of different things at her at the same time. So,
all right, Jay's. Yeah, I think maybe Jay's like he's doing happy fun time.
happy fun time.
Happy fun time. Getting
It's
on
a lot.
the
It's a
time
lot
game.
easier on the soul. Jay has a very sensitive soul.
He does have a delicate soul. He's a delicate flower. My brother from another.
I'm trying to make out that picture of his new little logo icon thingy next to his name.
It looks very Roman to me.
I don't have any glasses down here. I need
Roman or
some
Greek.
glasses and some zoom. I don't know.
It's pretty good. It's obviously a play off of Jabronis.
Oh, it's Roman like, yeah.
Roman
like
or Greek.
Caesar.
Yeah, Roman or Greek.
Roman Greek.
All right, so here I pulled this up. So the stuff relevant to Valerie Mack starts up. It's on 6. So let's just kind of start there. And just a reminder, we didn't know whether or not we should like play through the sentencing on Madeline Kingsbury is today at 1:30. I'm not sure.
Well, you do know I'm leaving you guys at around, well, no later than 11:45 because I've got court my time. So I've got court an hour from here.
Yeah, and I think Mandy and I decided that we were going to do two separate lives because the sentencing in that starts at 1:30, but
I think it
Didn't-
makes sense. Then you get the people who are interested in
Yeah.
that coming back around. So
You're right. Like it's sometimes like doubling up on things where people aren't following that case throws
They're like,
people
"What?"
off. So, but Dizzy did an amazing job last night or yesterday, and she put together a really nice because the Madeline's case was not streamed, and I think that was by request of the family. But the sentencing is going to be streamed, so Dizzy was able to put together an amazing kind of presentation with some press conferences, a ton of information about the underlying case. So, kind of going into the sentencing, we'll have a better idea of everything that was involved with that case. So, I'm figuring we'll probably start that at like maybe 11:45 or something, so I can get all that stuff done. Oh yeah, Spitfire sent you some drone information. I saw that Spit. I'll forward it to Allie. On the drive home, Cameron was all about the plasmoids.
You know, she told me when you got in, she's like, "Dad doesn't believe in plasmoids."
I did
I'm like,
not.
and
I
I guess
don't
I
not
just
not
keep
believe
telling
it.
her it's science.
Yeah, I don't like. I don't not believe in plasmoids. I've never heard of them being like. I mean, she's saying they're sentient, but they're like sentient
Sentient balls of energy.
plasma.
Well, yeah, energy balls, really. But I think it's just that energy has a life of its own is kind of what it is. She's taken it to its full extreme of sense.
Right. I mean, our daughter happens to be pretty conspiracy Illuminati centric. So it seems like a lot of that generation are. I don't know. All right. So I like this because it gets into some of the background of Valerie Mack, who, if you're late to the party, they have there's been a superseding indictment. They've now charged Rex Heuermann with yet another victim, that being Valerie Mack. And
Jesus. In
this is
1994? Oh, phew, I thought this was going on. I was like, "Damn, I'm lucky I'm alive." This was happening in Wildwood, Atlantic City,
right. I mean, it could have been a young Allie.
Philadelphia. Whew.
Yeah. All right. So Valerie Mack was born June 2nd, 1976 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Her birth name was Valerie Lynn Fulton. At an early age, Miss Mack was placed in foster care and shuffled between several foster homes until she ultimately was adopted by the Mack family. In 1994, at the age of 17, Miss Mack gave birth to a son and began living with her son's father in Wildwood, New Jersey. Shortly thereafter, she began traveling frequently to and from Wildwood, New Jersey to Philly. In 96, Valerie had her first contact with Pennsylvania law enforcement, resulting in the first of several prostitution related arrests by the Philadelphia Police Department. Miss
Oh, yeah,
Mack,
except that part. I wasn't prostituting, so if his targets were prostitutes, I would have escaped anyway.
yeah, I think we call them sex workers these days.
Well, I'm just going based off what
No,
the
I mean, I wasn't talking to you, babe. I was talking to whoever drafted up this thing. But
they switch, looks like.
yeah. All right. So, resulting in the first of several prostitution related arrests by Philadelphia Police Department, Miss Mack's final arrest came on or about June 25th of 2000. Based on the foregoing in the investigation to date between 1996 and 2000, Miss Mack is believed to have been working as a sex worker primarily in the Philadelphia, PA, and Atlantic City, New Jersey areas. While she did advertise online primarily under the alias of Melissa Taylor, Miss Mack was known to streetwalk, i.e., wander the streets looking for sex work. Shortly after the discovery of her remains in Manorville, Miss Mack's body was examined by forensic pathologists with the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office, as well as forensic anthropologists who were able to determine the victim had been deceased for approximately 2 to 8 weeks. Recently, the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office conducted an independent review of these findings and determined that Miss Mack's death would have occurred more specifically on or about between September 1 of 2000 to November 19th of 2000. At the time of her death, Miss Mack would have been 24 years old. The examination of the remains of Valerie Mack, in addition to the aforementioned decapitation, dismemberment, of Miss Mack's head and hands, respectively, the medical examiner's office was able to determine that Miss Mack's lower right leg had been amputated at the mid-calf. Trigger warning. Moreover, the examination revealed injuries to the victim's left mid and lateral breasts in the form of two contiguous ragged defects, which were likely the result of postmortem mutilation of the victim's breast with a sharp object. Ms. Mack's remains were also examined by forensic scientists with the SCCL. And during the examination of Ms. Mack's body, several human hairs were recovered, one of which was found in the vicinity of the decedent's left wrist. Hereinafter, female hair on Mack, a subsequent examination of the female hair on Mack led to the determination that it was a human head hair with Caucasian characteristics. However, it was, based on DNA testing capabilities at the SCCL, unsuitable for further DNA testing at that time. On or about March 29th of 2024, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force brought a cutting of the female hair on Mack to an outside forensics laboratory, previously referred to in Exhibit A as Forensic Laboratory Number 2, which specializes in forensic mitochondrial analysis. On or about October 14 of 2024, Forensic Lab 2 issued a report concluding that the partial mitochondrial DNA profile developed from the female hair on Mack and the known mitochondrial DNA profiles of Asa Ellerup and Victoria Heuermann, quote, share a common base at all locations, end quote, specifically at a rate that, as per the EMPOP database, excludes 99.65 of the North American population as the contributor of said hair recovered near the dismembered left wrist of the victim. So that's really their smoking gun evidence. Like, the press was giving it to Tierney pretty good in terms of, what does that mean? Does that mean that Valerie Mack was brought to the house? Tierney wasn't willing to go there in terms of this presser. And frankly, I mean, the way he kind of addressed that is they don't need to prove that that Valerie Mack was in the house. It simply could have been that Heuermann had the hair on his body when he committed the crime, somewhere on his clothing, and it transferred from him to her during the commission of the crime.
Now, did you choose to cover the document with our faces?
No, I think that's I actually like that. I like to put that up.
All right, well, then you just have to be reading from higher up. That's fine to do it that way.
No, we had that up for the presser.
Oh.
So while 99.65 of the North American population can be excluded as the contributor of the female hair on Mack, defendant Heuermann's wife and daughter, who share a mitochondrial DNA profile, cannot be excluded as a contributor of the said hair recovered from the remains of Valerie Mack. On or about October 29 of 2024, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force set a cutting of the female hair on Mack to an outside independent laboratory, previously referred to in Exhibit A as Forensic Lab 1, which applies DNA techniques and direct genome sequencing in difficult-to-solve forensic casework and the identification of human remains. That sounds an awful lot like Othram. On or about November 26 of 2024, Forensic Laboratory 1 issued a report indicating that it had developed a nuclear DNA profile for the female hair on Mack. Forensic Lab 1 was able to conduct a 1-to-1 autosomal nuclear DNA comparison between said profile developed from the female hair on Mack to Victoria Heuermann SNP or SNP genotype file developed from her buccal swab. It's definitely Othram, which resulted in a conclusion that the DNA profile generated from the female hair on Mack is 1.31 times 10 to the 356 power times more likely to have come from a person genetically identical to Victoria Heuermann's SNP genotype file than from any unrelated individual. So that's a lot of zeros. That the 356 to the 356 power. Based on the foregoing, it is significant that 2 forensic laboratories have now independently determined that the aforementioned hair was inside the sealed black garbage bags containing Miss Mack's remains, specifically near the victim's dismembered left wrist, is substantially more likely to have derived from a person genetically identical to Victoria Heuermann's DNA profile, thereby linking evidence. And just so you know, Victoria was 3 years old at the time, 3 or 4. To Victoria Heuermann's DNA profile, thereby linking evidence from yet another crime scene to the defendant through his immediate family. Notably, at the time Miss Mack's disappearance and the murder, defendant Heuermann's daughter would have been between 3 and 4 years old. The chart on the following page summarizes the results from the Forensic Lab 1 and Forensic Lab 2, which each individually have been able to determine that the hairs recovered on now 6 of the 7 charged victims are forensically tied to defendant Heuermann, members of his immediate family, or individuals with whom Heuermann resided, lending further support to the conclusion the defendant Heuermann murdered and transported the remains of each victim. So this is the breakdown.
While you're getting to the breakdown, I'm just wondering, has there been like stuff going on in court? Has he pled not guilty? Does it seem like he's planning on going to trial on this?
It does. It does. He has pled not guilty to all of them because there's been a couple of superseding indictments.
Right, I mean, but we know that that's, always happens no matter what. But there's been other movement that makes it seem like they're actually going to trial.
It does. Well, there's Fry hearing is set to go.
And just so you guys know, I mean, sometimes you do all the work, right? You see what evidence you can get excluded, and then you make your decision after the end of all your pretrial motions when you decide what's left standing.
Right. I mean, to me, this guy's going to go to trial because he's, for 2 reasons. 1, I think he likes the notoriety, and 2, I don't think he has anything to lose. So, and I know Sheba had asked a question. I think it was Sheba was asking a question about whether or not the feds could potentially pull the case and try to go in a state that has the death penalty. They would have to find, they'd have to be able to link him to a state that was, number one, that they had a strong case. I know they've been trying to do something in Nevada and also South Carolina. It doesn't sound like at this point they've had any luck with linking. I'm sure they're still working diligently on it. But short of that, and plus, it gets territorial with cases like this. I don't think New York is going to be willing to give it up if the feds want to step in. So, that's kind of a wait and see type thing. But as it stands right now, New York does not have the death penalty. So he was not going to be death penalty eligible for the crimes that were committed in New York State. So this is kind of the chart for Sandra Castilla. The results again, they found the male hair on her as a tape lift from the striped shirt above the victim's head. The results, 99.96 of North American population could be excluded, but not Rex Heuermann. And then they give you the nuclear snap results, the SNP. As you can see, it's a huge number there as well. They also found another female hair on Sandra on her right arm. Again, 99.98 of North American population can be excluded, but not witness 3.
Do we know who witness 3 is?
Yeah, like we do from, I'd have
Other
to go back.
documents. That's all right.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
Valerie Mack, as we know from this, we just went through that. They found the female hair on or about or around her left wrist. Again, it appears to be Victoria Heuermann's. Jessica Taylor, male hair underneath her.
Wait, they can't exclude the ASA's hair?
No, Asa's his wife.
Oh, sorry, guys. That also it typically stands for assistant state's attorney, and I know these are district attorneys, but it just that's I'm used to seeing it that way, so I apologize. All right, enough laughing,
Funny,
sir.
it was funny. Jessica Taylor. So again, they found one of Rex's. It appears to be one of Rex's hairs on surgical drape underneath the victim. Again, very very huge number from the snap. So on Maureen Brainerd Barnes, female hair on the belt buckle of the restraining lower body. In terms of DNA, um, and like from the mitochondrial, they couldn't get a profile. From the snap, they got 7.9 trillion times more likely to come from an individual with the identical genetic profile as Asa Alarup. That's again his wife. So Megan Water, like, and this is the whole thing with people wondering, about whether or not she's involved with it or had knowledge of it. I mean, clearly, if I was a serial unaliver, I'd probably have your hair all over me
Everywhere,
all the time.
everywhere.
And
I mean, it's my hair is literally everywhere.
really is floats in the air. I eat a
Because
lot of it. I eat a lot of your hair. It's floating. You got
come
such
on, stop.
thick, luxurious hair. Um,
Do we know if Asa has long hair?
I don't know.
I mean, either way, hair,
I mean, like,
especially you reach a certain age, that hair's really falling out.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think she didn't have a buzz cut. The pictures I've seen to her.
I'm gonna pull her up while you're reading.
All right. So Megan Waterman, the first of two female hairs on Waterman outside of the head areas where it was located. Again, 99.69 of North American population could be excluded, but not Asa Ellerup or Victoria Heuermann. So again, with the snap, they said it was 2.374 times 10 to the 48th power that it comes from an individual with an identical genetic profile as Asa Ellerup.
And she's got thick strawberry blonde, red-ish hair below her shoulders. So I can imagine that's hair coming out left and right.
Yeah.
And she's older, so
Yeah. And then you've got another two female hairs on Waterman, tape in the area of the head. And then again, the mitochondrial they weren't able to get that, but then they got the snap. And it's huge numbers for that it's Asa's hair. Megan, another male hair on Waterman, bottom portion of the burlap. Again, 99.96 of North American population could be excluded, but not Rex Heuermann. And then another huge number as far as the snap profile that it's Rex's.
I'm sorry, Crystal's comment. It was just funny.
I'm assuming that happens in the shower, Crystal.
Or after he's going to the bathroom, he's saying like he's shitting out her hair from eating it.
Oh my God. Trigger warning.
Sorry.
I've definitely pulled your hairs out from places on my body in the shower.
I hope I did put it there.
I mean, maybe you did when I'm sleeping. I'm not that sound of a sleeper anymore. No.
That's not what I meant, but all right, let's move on.
I see what you're saying.
Okay. He gets it now.
Woo. Woo. Amber Costello, female hair on Costello, tape in the area of the head. 99 for the mitochondrial, it's 99.98% of North American population cannot be excluded, or can be excluded, but not Asa or Victoria. And then again on the snap, another huge number. So the digital evidence as it relates to the disappearance and murder of Valerie Mack.
Sorry, this is horrible, like material that people keep making me laugh at. I'm trying to control myself.
I mean,
Just
seriously.
remember what we're discussing here. Like the district attorney cracking wise about I've got my picture of my saved all my high school
football touchdowns.
Touchdown.
Yeah. Okay, so as detailed in Exhibit A, following his arrest, numerous search warrants were executed at Heuermann's residence, which culminated in inter alia the seizure of over 350 electronic devices. What a creep! Who has 350 electronic devices? I mean, I'm trying to think of our house. We probably have like 40, computers, old computers, phones.
I mean,
Maybe like 50,
I mean, if
like
they
with
start like
drives.
finding little, they're gonna they'd find flash drives and like all over the place and files left and right. And
Yeah. The
I
one thing
mean,
that they
our
won't
files are
find,
here now, so they'd actually find a shit ton of
they
electronic.
they would, and they'd probably find a bunch of disturbing shit based
Yeah.
on our cases, but
Oh yeah, there's pictures on my phone that I'm like, I think you've got to figure out how to pull this file off, and it's like not good.
in the months subsequent to Heuermann's arrest, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force has attempted to extract and analyze data from each of these devices. As previously detailed, an analysis of these devices has revealed Heuermann's significant collection of violent bondage and torture pornography, currently dating back to 1994. Moreover, in the months leading up to Miss Mack's disappearance and murder, the task force uncovered pornographic images accessed by Heuermann, which include breast mutilation and tying up of women with rope, which largely coincide with A, the injuries inflicted on Miss Mack's breast, and B, how the rope ligatures were utilized on Valerie Mack. More specifically, during the month of September 2000, investigators observed a large uptick in downloads of pornographic images depicting bondage, discipline, sadism, and masochism, BDSM. These pornographic downloads were discovered on a compact disc located in Heuermann's home office. Specifically relevant to the Mack investigation is on May 23rd of 2020 and July 30th of 2020, Rex Heuermann's home IP address was used to access GilgoNews.com, a website previously maintained by the SCPD, to disseminate information regarding the Gilgo Beach investigation. Notably, on May 23rd of 2020 at approximately 11:30 p.m. At the time, Rex Heuermann's home IP address visited GilgoNews.com. The webpage highlighted the upcoming identification of Manorville Jane Doe, who would 5 days later be identified as Valerie Mack. On July 30th of 2020 at approximately 10:50 p.m., Heuermann's home IP address once again visited the Mack-specific portions of the GilgoNews.com website for information pertaining to the investigation. As previously noted in March of 2024, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force extracted a Microsoft Word document entitled HK 202 or 2002-04 from Heuermann's laptop computer. As set forth in further detail in Exhibit A, specifically the June 6, 2024 bail application, the task force members believed the Microsoft Word document to be a planning document utilized by Heuermann, and we went through this back when that dropped, to methodically blueprint and plan out his kills, hereinafter referred to as HK planning document, and attached here to is Exhibit B. The Gilgo Homicide Task Force subsequently hired a digital forensics expert who was able to determine that while this iteration, Exhibit B, of the HK planning document appeared to have been created and modified between 2001 and 2002, the original document appears to have been created in the year 2000, which notably coincides with the year that Valerie Mack was murdered or unalived. I have to remember to say that because YouTube's pretty weird about it. In addition,
They didn't list all the victims, just the ones they found DNA on, because we had a question about how many victims there were as of now.
at this point, he's been charged with 7.
All right.
So, in addition to the document's creation in the same year that Valerie Mack was murdered, the HK planning document substantively relates to the Mack investigation in other respects. First, the HK planning document begins with a 4-category section with the underlined headings of problems, supplies, DS, and TRG. See embedded excerpt below, emphasis added, which described in further detail. So, if you guys remember this, it was super creepy. So this is the document that they found in his on one of his drives. So problems. So these are obviously he's trying to get ahead of
I'm surprised they're not calling it his manifesto.
Yeah, this is like it's it's worse.
Oh yeah.
Problems,
pretty
DNA,
bad.
tire marks, blood stains, fingerprints, MO, plastic bag, cat litter, witness, trace
Wait,
source,
MO, like he's trying to come up with his own modus operandi, or
or he's trying to avoid having one.
huh?
I don't know. I mean,
My
he's
MO is
certainly
a plastic bag and cat litter.
trace source of supplies, foot and shoe prints, photos, question mark, misleaders,
Ooh,
question mark.
weird. He puts double S's for that.
Yeah, police stop, truck stuck, fingerprints and gloves, plastic bag matched to box, hair and fiber. So he's trying to think out all the things that can get him caught.
Yeah, you know what? We should have like a, you've got what's that guy from New York who was a homicide detective that I think,
Joe,
yeah,
check on him.
yeah. Maybe he can tell us his thoughts on this, the whole plastic bag,
Hopefully
cat litter,
someday.
shoe prints.
Joe's taking a respite.
Oh, it's like
too.
Jay. Everybody needs like their souls purged and reset.
Yeah. Or we could get Mikey Alcazar on, who I love. Like I saw him on maybe it
So I
was
wonder
on
if photos
TV.
is like, damn, I really want to take photos, but should I take photos? Because,
So his supplies, booties, lye or acid, police scanner, rope, cord, saw, cutting tools, hair nets, photo film, burn can, foam drain cleanser, body wash wipes, tarps, drop cloths, medical gloves, bag, tape, large electric clips, and ratchet cargo strap. DS dumpster site, Mill Road, dumpster site 2, question marks. TRG, Megan, question mark, small is good. T-Unk black. I don't know if that means trunk. I forget. We figured out what TRG meant. If somebody remembers what that was.
maybe Shannon or
Oh,
Jay.
here they're gonna put it down here. Target or victim. So based on the Gilgo homicide task force training experience, it's believed that the DS heading, see red boxes above, appears to be an acronym for dump site, which is corroborated by inter alia the discovery of Valerie Mack at 2 separate dump sites. One of those locations being the vicinity of Mill Road, which is listed as DS1 Mill Road in the above Word document. On April 4, 2011, Miss Mack's skeletonized skull, hands, and right foot were recovered near Ocean Parkway, i.e. second dump site. Didn't this fucking moron in like his problems, like he didn't figure out, I should probably delete all my documents pertaining to all of my problems and my dump sites?
I've been thinking about it. We're going to have to use Jay and Shannon. They're being so close to, well, mostly Shannon, but and Jay, because Jay loves to interview people and get out there and talk to people on the street.
She loves that. It's his favorite thing.
To go out and interview people.
Yeah.
So you can't go too far, Jay. You're going to be our interviewer of people.
I mean, Shan's game.
Shan's
she's boots on the ground.
I know that.
She got no
Jay can
problem.
hold the camera. Jay can hold the camera.
Yeah, Jay can be the camera guy. He can throw an ad in there, a TikTok ad in there.
A Jabronius joke. I was just getting
Jabronius. Get it right.
Jabronius. Sorry, I was
Don't
just getting on
put that.
YouTube to see if there's a Jabronius channel I can subscribe to, or
Jabronius. Well, I think he kept the same channel. He's just gonna rebrand it.
so I don't need to resubscribe to anything.
No, like he's got 21,000 subs. There's no way he's gonna dip that. Gary V would not like that plan. I was watching some Gary V. Like Jay got me on Gary V. So I know why Jay, like Gary V is adamant that what Jay's doing with the social media shopping, that's the next big thing. He's like, Gary V thinks that social media shopping is going to put going to put, like, it's the biggest risk to Amazon.
Well, I mean, my chat GPT says we're gonna be living in the metaverse. So yeah, whatever that is, shopping sounds like it'll be all we need. Gonna be living in the metaverse within 5 to I don't know how many years. More people living in the metaverse than traversing the ground during the day.
Yeah, Allie's using AI. She loves chat. She has more conversations with Chat GPT than she does with me. She like talks with it. Like she
I
uses
don't use
voice.
it. I don't use it like
I'm like, who are
utilize it
you
to do
talking
things.
to? She's like, no one. I'm like, what? Like, who's this guy? Who's this dude you're talking? Oh, no one. Having full blown conversations about drones and plasmoids and like
Bob
the
wasn't even here for any of that, so he doesn't know if it happened. No, I like to ask it every once in a while, what's gonna be the end of humanity? And then when it says AI, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's what
well, we knew that.
right.
So as detailed previously, TRG appears to be a reference to target or victim. See the blue boxes above. It is important to note that at the time of Miss Mack's disappearance and murder, she was approximately 5 foot tall and weighed less than 110 pounds, fitting the small is good note in the HK planning document regarding the type of victims targeted by the defendant. Based on the task force training and experience, the members believe supplies to be a reference to what supplies are needed to carry out the serial unalivings. One of the listed supplies is foam drain cleaner. Notably, a review of Heuermann's Nextel cellular phone records reveals that on October 3 of 2000, Heuermann appears to make 2 outgoing calls to a plumbing company based in Lynbrook, whose identity is known to law enforcement. Furthermore, in mid-November of 2000, Heuermann paid $265 to yet another plumbing company to check his mainline drain. Supply section also includes notes to rope, cord, and bags tape, each of which were recovered with the remains of the victims during the course of this investigation, well before the identification of Rex Heuermann as a suspect in the murder of unaliving of Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor. Forensic scientists with the SCCL compared the garbage bags containing the 2011 remains of Valerie Mack to the garbage bags containing the 2000 remains of Jessica Taylor. At the conclusion of this examination, the SCCL was able to determine noticeable similarities in the bags based on inter alia, material, color, seal location, knots, perforations, and size, and the type of closure, thereby connecting the Mack and Taylor cases not only by location, Manorville and Gilgo Beach dump sites, victimology, petite sex workers, and modus operandi, decapitation, dismemberment, and dump of identifiable body parts, e.g. the skull and the hands near Gilgo, while other portions of the victims were dumped in Manorville, but also via supplies, similarly garbage bags utilized in both crimes. Similarly, well before the identification of Rex Heuermann as the suspect in the unalivings of Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor, a forensic anthropologist with the New York City Office of Chief Medical Examiner's Office noted similarities in the type of cutting instrument used to dismember both victims. Specifically, the forensic anthropologist analyzed the cut bones of both victims, which led to the conclusion that a hand-powered saw with similar blade widths were utilized in both of Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack's cases. This is significant in that it is yet another link not only between the 2 victims, but also the HK planning document, namely a similar supply, i.e. saw cutting tools used in both crimes. As noted above, contains a body prep section with a note. That note, can't keep reading it, which clearly relates to the condition of Valerie Mack's remains. Additionally, Valerie Mack was indeed packaged for transport, as this section indicates to do, further increasing the significance of this document's presence on Heuermann's laptop. So this footnote talks about the 3 of the 4 bags were 40 by 32. Only the outer plastic bag containing Jessica Taylor's remains was 48 by 32. Despite the difference, the outer plastic bags were similar. The other 3 by 42 are 40 by 32 garbage bags with respect to material, not color, perforation, seal, and location, type of closure. So he's got this thing. This comes from the document too. Body prep, wash body inside and all cavities, remove trace evidence, fingerprint hairs, remove DNA, trace DNA, remove ID marks, tattoos, remove marks from torture, remove that, package for transport. What a sick fuck, man. God. I mean, just like when you sit around and think about somebody just sitting there thinking about this stuff, like obsessing about it, it's so warped. Finally, the body prep section above includes a note to remove ID marks. Recently, the task force interviewed several witnesses who confirmed that Valerie Mack had a tattoo on her foot and ankle which depicted her son's name. The examination of the victim's body in 2000 revealed no tattoos on the victim's left foot or ankle. Accordingly, Gilgo Homicide Task Force members believe Miss Mack's tattoo of her son's name was on her right foot or ankle. That inference is corroborated not only by the foregoing examination and witness statements, but also by the notations on Heuermann's laptop computer, specifically the HK planning document, which called for the removal of any ID marks, including tattoos, prior to the packaging of the body for transportation. Furthermore, he is charged with the unaliving of Jessica Taylor, whereupon the people allege that the defendant engaged in similar postmortem behavior in the form of sharp force mutilation to Miss Taylor's tattoo so as to prevent and obfuscate her identification via tattoo. Based on the foregoing, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force members believe the defendant amputated Miss Mack's lower right leg to the mid calf to inhibit or delay the identification of Miss Mack's tattoo and therefore Miss Mack. So physical evidence that was recovered via the search warrant of his home and office. In 2003, they executed a search warrant on his home and his Manhattan office on or about July 15th of 2023. While executing the court-ordered or authorized search warrant in Manhattan, agents of the task force observed a magazine in Rex Heuermann's personal office, specifically a People magazine, which had been issued on November 7th, 2016. So this is a long time later. The magazine entitled Bodies on the Beach, Hunt for the Long Island Serial Killer. Who is the cold-blooded murderer killing women and dumping their bodies on a New York beach? Was recovered from a cardboard box directly in front of Rex Heuermann's work desk. What a creep. What a creep. So additionally, on or about July 16th of 2023, while executing a search warrant, agents of the task force observed another magazine, this time located in the basement vault of Rex Heuermann's residence. The New York magazine, which had been issued on June 6th of 2011, featured a cover story regarding a serial killer on Long Island. Wow. Wow. Between May 20 and 25, 2024, LE executed a second search warrant on the defendant's Massapequa residence. Notably, on May 21, agents of the Gilgo Homicide Task Force seized newspapers from Rex Heuermann's primary bedroom, which included a New York Post newspaper, which had been issued on July 29th of 2003. Said newspaper included an article entitled Serial Killer Eyed an L.I. Slay, which contained details surrounding the disappearance and murders of Valerie Mack and Jessica Taylor. Wow. Wow. And then finally, on May 21st, 2024, agents of the Gilgo Homicide Task Force also seized newspapers from the basement of Heuermann's residence, which included a Newsday publication issued on November 22nd, 1993. Said newspaper included an article entitled Body Discovered in the Woods, which specifically referenced the homicide investigation of Sandra Castilla, whose partially clothed body was discovered in a wooded area of North Sea, Southampton on Saturday, November 20th, 1993. Wow. It's pretty damning, huh, babe?
Sure is. I mean, I don't know what the hell he's going to trial for.
The Go-Go Homicide Task Force members believe these newspapers and magazines were store-bought as they lack any identification of postmarks or subscription tags. Based on the totality of the investigation, the task force believes that Heuermann sought, purchased, and kept these publications inter alia as, quote, souvenirs or mementos of his crime, serving as a reminder of the events that occurred throughout the murders of each victim. Based on the foregoing, Rex Heuermann is now charged with the unaliving of 7 victims. Of note, 2 independent labs have forensically linked evidence from 6 of the 7 crime scenes to Heuermann and or members of his immediate family or individuals with whom Heuermann resided. Second, the HK planning documents creation in 2000, the same year that Valerie Mack was unalived, as well as its description of DS1 or the first dump site as Mill Road, which is where the remains of Miss Mack were discovered, further emphasizes the document's relevance to the Valerie Mack homicide investigation. Furthermore, the dismemberment of Miss Mack's right leg, where she had a tattoo of her son's name, was clearly intended to inhibit the identification of Miss Mack, which is corroborated by the HK planning document, its presence on Heuermann's laptop computer, and the mutilation of Jessica Taylor's tattoo in a similar fashion. Finally, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force members believe that Heuermann his possession of numerous publications relating to not only the Gilgo 4, but also Sandra, Valerie, Jessica, indicates the defendant's attempt to remind himself of the events that occurred throughout the murders of each victim, revealing Rex A. Heuermann's utter lack of disregard or remorse for his actions with the victims. So if convicted, he faces multiple sentences of life without the possibility of parole. Remand without bail is appropriate. So,
Sure is.
yeah. So it looks like A was previously filed. We've gone through it. And then there's B.
Which they just had up there, right? Or did they not have all of that?
They didn't have all of it, but we've gone through it before. Pretty-
Notes, spur of the moment, cover. Stockholm syndrome. That's his cover? Or
I mean, I think those are like ponderables for himself.
yeah.
The more you do, the more clues you give. Look at the painting. Like we got an explanation what he meant by that. The painting.
Yeah, I remember this now. He's
Yeah.
like trying to decide, does he want to come off organized or disorganized? Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Recon reports. Wow.
Yeah, vidcams on the Long Island Expressway, Route 112 to 110.
So do we know, did this happen? Bodies were washed inside and out, all cavities? I mean, clearly he didn't remove all this trace evidence he thought he did, since he left his wife's hair and his DNA all over the place.
And his hair.
Right.
Things to remember. Disposed of the following tools and devices: T1 clothes and personal items, drop cloths, wipes and towels, props, toys, wood items, anything that touched T1, what you wore, destroy book and computer files,
Yeah, forgot to do his own shit.
burn gloves, dispose of
What is
bodies.
this, you think? The sound travels, i.e. a bird outside, control the amount of air in and out to get control the noise made.
Well, I think he's talking about screaming, right?
Yeah. He's just putting a bird outside to, like, I mean, I don't see why he'd be using code in this, since everything else is like right out stated.
Get sleep before hunt, too tired to create problems. Hit harder, too many hit to take down, consider a hit to the face or neck next time for takedown. More sleep and noise control equals more playtime.
Jesus.
Fuck, dude.
Pervert. Just so perverse, just so miswired. It's just crazy.
Use heavy rope. Guy can't even spell. For neck, light rope broken under stress of being tightened. Hunt too long, seen an area too long, take down or pick up. Remember, don't charge gas, recon for vids. So there's that. Yeah, he's a big guy, Taryn.
She says, "Isn't?" Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big dude. All right. Well, it's good news for the families of Valerie Mack and um, you know,
I hear Shannon. That's what I thought. Maybe was he like reminding himself how he heard a bird at some point? Huh. Yes, correct, Meg P. He has a right to a fair trial, whether we like it or not. We want everyone to get a fair trial. It's just, why get a fair trial if you're acknowledging it was you and there's no death penalty and you're getting charged only for the crimes that you did. There's not much of a reason. It's like all the reasons for us as defense attorneys kind of go out the window. He's being charged only for the offenses he actually committed, if obviously. And if the sentence that they're offering is fair, then it's like you're just
well, I mean, like in a case like this, they're not going to budge. So
yeah, but anything less than death, how can you decide that's not fair for if he committed all of these crimes?
Oh no, I know. Like my point being that he's got nothing to lose by going to trial.
Right.
You know, I
Except
mean,
right. Putting his family through all of that.
he doesn't
it seemed
care. Does he seem like a guy who cares?
I don't know. Didn't they say he actually seemed like he was a good father and a wife, good husband?
I don't know.
I didn't remember. I thought they
I mean, how good of a father can you be if you're doing this shit? Like honestly,
well, clearly.
right? I mean, you've got you're a little preoccupied with your secret life. If this is you, like you can't be all there for your people if this is what you're obsessed with doing constantly, which he was for
Thank
decades.
you. Thank you, Grin, for me. And Bob hasn't had a snack. We're gonna get him one right now before he comes back at you guys.
Woo! All right, so yeah, I'm Tierney and and law enforcement task force doing a great job with this case. I mean, they're again, he's
Sorry that
presumed innocent, of course, but you look at I always like to weigh, which way things lean, and this thing to me leans heavy guilty. I mean, the hairs are pretty damning. Like the other circumstantial stuff is
you never
very
know.
hard to explain.
And you never know. They could be it could be a case where they're putting because we've seen that happen where someone who's committed multiple crimes gets one put on them that they didn't commit. So they're like, all right, well, if they don't want to take that one off, I'm gonna go for that one. Bob and I actually were involved in that while we were in law school. We were like, wait a minute, this there was something we read in a newspaper that made us think that it was that crime was committed by whoever had committed the crime we were reading about, and it ended up being accurate that one of the guy was still guilty of multiple murders, but one of the murders wasn't him.
Yeah.
And that can happen in a case like this where they want to close as many as they can.
Yeah, Free. I had never been on a live with them, but I watched as I was shocked and
Why,
sad.
what's Legal Vices?
He was a law tuber. He passed away suddenly.
Oh,
Yeah, it's kind of the whole law tube community is spinning. It's really sad. It's like you sit there and you think about it. Like he was right around my age too. Fucking scary.
life is fleeting.
Life is fleeting. It's crazy.
I mean, if there's definitely one thing they're going to ask you at the end, what do you wish you did? No one's going to answer, work more. I think COVID kind of helped most of us realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, life is fleeting. Be with family more. Do things that make you happy more.
Yeah, he was exactly my age.
I mean, I'll go subscribe. I don't know what it does now, but sure.
It sounds like his son.
Oh, for his son. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody go do it.
I mean, I'm subbed over there already, but
me, I don't know as much as Bob does. He's slowly hoping to get me into this full time. So we'll see. But I'm gonna go subscribe right now.
yeah, it's super sad.
What was it again? Oh, Legal Vices.
Legal Vices, yeah.
Oh yeah, he looks healthy too. Jeez.
Oh,
Subscribed.
it's crazy. It was the heart. It was the
Oh.
heart.
All right, guys. Yeah, let's do our part to get it up there. Can however that can help the family in whatever ways it can. All for it. All for it. But yep, just remember, life is fleeting. Spend more time with your family.
Yep.
Work less. Enjoy life more. Do something fun for yourself this holiday. That's what one of your gifts should be. A fun thing to do with your family.
Yep. 100%. Got to take advantage of every day. Like, seriously. It's like the older you get, the more you realize that too. It's and you're right with COVID, that really it's a big reset for me, as you know.
Yep.
I mean, I was like, I mean, if that hadn't happened,
We'd still be just
slogging along.
miserable.
Yeah, you guys think I was miserable this morning. You ain't seen nothing. And I wasn't really even that miserable. Yeah, I had a very productive 3 days down in Marion, Illinois. Which I really didn't even get to tell Allie that much about, but it was I'm working on a case with Lauren Pachenko, who does like he's got a bunch of pods out there, like Murder in Oregon, Murder in Illinois. I partnered up with her. There's a case that we're looking at down in Southern Illinois, Marion, Illinois. We were down there doing some boots on the ground stuff, and just had a incredible conversation with.
Well, I don't know. Don't reveal any secrets now. You guys will have to talk about that together. But it's coming out dropping on January 2nd. It's Murder on Songbird Road. It is going to be and is amazing. And Bob and Lauren will at some point come in on here, give you guys all the straight dope, the behind the scenes intel. So if you have not subscribed, just subscribe and hit that alert button so that you know when Bob's going to go live, because as you know how we roll over here, sometimes it can be last minute. Just come.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, it was closer to St. Louis, Mandy. So it was would have been like a 5.5 hour drive.
And Lauren has to fly in anyway, so Bob would have been scooping her from the airport, which is what you guys did last time, right?
Yeah, last time I drove down. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this time I decided to fly, which was nicer. It was definitely nicer.
All right, guys. Bob will be back soon.
Yeah. I know Mandy's.
Did you create the thing already yet? Can you portal them over?
I unfortunately, Mandy, did you get the thumbnail done for? I'd love to portal everybody over, but I can't. I haven't set it up yet. I'm waiting on the thumb. So I'll as soon as we get that, I'll set it up and I'll get it out there to the world. But set your notifications. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining us. We're always excited to have new people here. We love giving family hugs. Aw, family hug. Aw.
Speaking of which, you've got Jesse Charles, who's been a member for 2 months. We have a podcast producer, but not a YouTube producer. And Pokemon, member for 11 months. Looky there, family hugs for 11 months.
Aw, family hug. Love
Joe
it.
Schmo, we all know him.
Schmo.
He's in his 3rd trimester. Wow.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
And whoever got that membership did thank you, Cool Lady, gifted. So
as always, Cool Lady. And I got your email, Cool Lady. Just so you know, I got it. I seen it.
And if anyone missed our myself and Steve from Publicly Buzzed on his channel, we did a whole drones thing. We delve into all sorts of stuff. Got off track, back on track, covering it all. Plasmoids
Plasmoids
were discussed. And
yeah.
I'm just hoping it's not our government looking for something that might be putting us all at risk, but seems like it could be. But you know,
I mean, what did you guys land on with the droids? Is that it?
that the drones could be, I mean, a couple things, but one, that it seems likely that it's our government searching for something on the ground that would be, you know, something very dangerous, putting us at risk, and that's why we don't know. Or
God, I should
Santa
have
Claus.
watched you and
Santa
Steve
Claus
do
could
that.
be mapping out he needs new paths. So
I'm fairly certain it is the big guy. Like, I like to think that that's him plotting his courses and
yeah,
getting ready. He's got a lot of work to do.
right. Maybe trying to figure out if he can free up some time with Mrs. Claus. So he's got to, maybe he's going to incorporate drones. It's like, I want some free time.
Oh, Mrs.
Yeah.
Claus. So, all right, you guys are the best. Remember to share, like, subscribe. If you haven't given it a like, please give it a like on the way out. If you haven't subbed, please do. And then remember, like, I'll figure it out. That presser is going on at 1:30 my time, which is Central Standard Time. So I'll try to figure out when to run that thing. But
Was that
hopefully
you,
it'll be
babe?
reading
That's
that.
Mandy.
What?
Imagine how much hair Mrs. Claus gets in her crack.
Wow, that was not me. It was definitely Mandy. You can't tell because she wasn't screaming in it. She does that. She tries to trick everybody by not screaming, and when she does a DD podcast one. But it was me who apologized for being a big dick this morning. That was me.
Ah,
So
apologies for big dickness. We love it. We love it.
big dickness. All right. I love you. I love you, babe. All right, you guys. We'll see you in like 2 and 2, like Chuck Wooler used to say.
You're supposed to
Later.
say without you.
Oh, yeah, because without y'all, I was saving that for the after. Like, I only like to do that once a day, but without y'all, you know, I'm just an old man.
Being a big dick to himself.
And my wife. Love you.